Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena and welcome back to another video. So today we're talking sci-fi. Yes, I'm so excited. So again, this video is based on the other one by Tori. I've already said this the first time I did this, but follow her. She's amazing. Best fantasy and sci-fi Rex. She's great. So today I think I might have overdone this a little bit because I've chosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 subgenres. Went a little bit over my head, not gonna lie. I was just like, I really want to talk about sci-fi. This wasn't the best, I'll be honest. But today, again, we're going to pair one subgenre with one book. This time we're going to do science fiction instead of fantasy. I have made another one with fantasy, but it's coming later in the year. But let's just get started. I've been doing such long intros lately. So the first subgenre that I have picked is post-apocalyptic. It's actually inside science fiction. Yes, it's not a genre on its own. So yeah, I mean, I think you understand what it means. So for this, I've chosen one of my favorite books of all time. The Passage by Justin Cronin. This is the Spanish edition, El Pasaje, but it's fucking great. This trilogy is gigantic, okay? It's gigantic. All the books are super chunky. This edition is not 1,000. Oh yeah, it is. Because I used to have another edition of this book and I wanted to have like this tall one to match the other two, and that other one was like 1,200 pages. This is about a vampire taking kind of over the world. Not exactly. It was just like, you know, you turn into a vampire, you lose your conscience, you basically start killing everyone, and that's how the world ended. Basically, humans live in now these world colonies, and they are kind of pretty small colonies basically, and it's super great. Not gonna lie, the prologue of this book is 300 pages that take place in our time, but they are so worth it. So worth it. Oh my god, I love this series. I love it so much. We have a time jump of 100 years in the middle. Well, not exactly in the middle, it's a long book, but a lot happens in here. I just love it. I really want to reread this actually. I kind of want to read them on English for the first time and see if I like them better or not, but amazing. I just love this trilogy so much. So, alien invasion. I mean, this one is also pretty self-explanatory, you know? Aliens planning on taking over Earth. For this, I'm just doing another favor because I don't recommend this guy enough in my channel. Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. Actually, Peter F. Hamilton is coming with that book with Gareth Powell, which apparently is also great, and I still have to read his works, but I'm so excited, cannot even imagine. But again, these are so big, I'm so sorry. But this is a duology. This is the first one, Pandora's Star, and the series is called The Commonwealth, I believe, The Commonwealth Saga, if I remember correctly. I rave about this on the first days of my channel, but it's been a while since I've talked about them, and I love them. It basically starts with a star vanishing from the sky. Scientist is looking at the sky and he's just like, wait a second. 1 second the star was there and the other one was not. So basically Earth ensembles this ship and sends it just to check what the hell is happening. And when they get there, they basically discover that an entire solar system is now protected with a field force. Just gonna leave it at that. There are so many storylines in this book, like you're not even going to believe it. So many of them don't seem connected with the alien aspect of it, but they are. I promise you they are. At the end they are. All the lines, you know, converge at the end, and it's just so satisfying. There's also a lot of world building here. Like half of this book is world building. I love world building, so I don't mind that, but I know many people are character driven readers, so careful if you're going to this. There's a lot of world building and a lot of plot, but a lot of world building, so careful. Then we have First Contact, and for this I'm going to recommend you a book that I didn't particularly love, but maybe you will. I've tried to just include some of those books here because I don't like it doesn't mean that you won't. So for First Contact with Aliens, I've chosen Semiosis and I believe the author's name was Zuberg. This is weird because basically in this book a group of scientists decides to start a colony in this what seems to be kind of utopic planet where all the flora is incredible, there's a lot of fauna, you know, great place to start a colony until plants start killing people. Yes, the first contact here is with alien plants. And the concept is great. I didn't love how the book was made because I didn't realize that this was actually a generational story. Careful with that because I was expecting, you know, kind of a fast massacre of the colony. But instead we got how the life progressed in this planet with the plants, and there's not joining with the plants. It's a lot. I still think it's good. I don't think it's a bad book. It's just that it wasn't what I was expecting, so you might still like it, and that's why it's here, basically. So I just don't talk about the same books all over again. So hard sci-fi. This is a weird genre. There's a lot of talk about, you know, this book is hard sci-fi. This might not be hard sci-fi. Basically, what hard sci-fi means is that the scientific aspect in the book is always respected and is the most prominent feature of the book. That's it. You can include here so many fucking things. What I understand as hard sci-fi are books that are really heavy on the science and really complicated. That's basically my whole classification. But for this, I'm choosing Revelation Space by Alistair Reynolds because I'm currently reading this. ¿Qué pasa? Good. Okay. Don't be mad. Well, basically, I'm in the middle of this, and it's basically the book that inspired this video. I'm just loving it. But basically, in this one, we have the trope of the, you know, now a dead alien species. Humans get there, start to investigate. There's actually hints that they have actually found was it 5 or 6 other alien races that were extinct, and that's so cool, man. That's so cool. There's the beginning at least is pretty heavy on the science, so that's why I'm including it here. I'm loving this. Thank you so much to everyone who pressured me to read it finally. I love you. But yeah, this has been great. I cannot wait to finish this. It's looking good. It's looking good, at least for now. So, sci-fi horror. Hear me out. I went through a sci-fi horror phase in January or February. I don't remember exactly when. And I tried to find some good sci-fi horror books. If you know more, please let me know. But in here, I've chosen the one that I've liked the most out of the ones that I have read so far in the last couple of years. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't even love it. I just enjoyed it. I haven't even read the sequel yet, but still. This is Contagion by Eric Bowman, I believe. I actually unhauled this one because I didn't thought that I was going to read the second one. Still, one of the best sci-fi horror books that I've read. The irony here. Again, we have a planet that is being mined, I believe it was, and, you know, stress signal, something is going on, new ship is coming in to figure out what the hell happened in the planet, and apparently something turned the people on this planet into monsters. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not even going to tell you what type of monster. Just going to leave it at that. It's a really fun, it's really YA also, but it's really fun. It's a really fun ride. It's really cliche, but it's a good time, you know. It's better than all the books, all the horror books that I read in January. Like, I read The Splinter Silence from Hell. No, not from Hell. Hell on Mars. Which other one? I believe I read another one. But yeah, I've been desperately looking for more horror sci-fi books, and it's so hard. This is not even a subgenre. I'm just making this up because I need more horror sci-fi books. So, military fantasy. It's been a while, I mean. Ninefox Gambit by Yoon Ha Lee. This trilogy, Machinery of Empire is incredible. Again, this is also really, really hard sci-fi. Not in a way that it's really scientific. Well, it's actually pretty scientific, not gonna lie. But they have like their own science. But it's hard. It's just... it's a mess. Don't be mad if you don't understand the first book, because neither did I. And I still love it. But it's really complicated. We basically follow Captain Cherries, and she is tasked with retrieving the Fortress of Thousand Needles from the hands of the rebels. For that, she's going to use the help of a General Gideon, who is kind of a legendary commander that has never lost a battle and has been alive for 400 years. But yeah, Machinery of Empire is incredible. Again, super heavy military fantasy. It's great. I cannot stop recommending this book, but it's hard to read. Like, you will be lost for a long time. Just accept everything. Be just like, yeah, for sure. You will be fine. Trust me, you will be fine. But I'm going to link Angela's video here, because she did a full review on the trilogy and why you should read it, and she's better at that than me. So yeah, check that out. And then I have also included here science fantasy, sci-fantasy, that's how I call it, because science fantasy is just a mouthful. And I have also included this one on the fantasy category, but that's life. This is a pretty controversial pick, because neither do I consider this sci-fi, but it is sci-fi. This is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is a really, really polarizing book. Either you're going to really like it or you're going to completely hate it. There's kind of barely any middle ground here. The people that like this adore this book, like adored it. I fell a little bit of the middle, because here's the thing. I grabbed this thinking that it was, as the tagline says, lesbian necromancers in space. Is it that? Technically, yes. Do I have enough space in this book? No. Actually, for me, it's more of a fantasy. It is set in space. That's the only space thing that you will see here. That sometimes they look up out a window and you see the stars. That's the only thing. That's a bummer, not gonna lie, but the story in itself I really enjoy, so I personally won't include this in science fiction videos, but I'm going to include this here, because I think that at its core, it's mainly a fantasy. I still have to read Harold the Ninth, which is the sequel. I'm really excited for that, actually, because I didn't love Gideon, but I do really loved Harold. So I think that one is going to be probably my book. Maybe there's more kind of science fiction elements in the other one, but still, the book in itself, it's good. It's good. Careful with the humor, very goofy humor. You might not like that. I wasn't a huge fan, but I still give this one 4 stars. I mean, it's still a good. It's still a good book, but this is definitely the most polarizing of all the books that I have chosen. Like it's weird. Do I think of it as a sci-fi book? Never, honestly. Like, never. For me, my brain is stuck in the fantasy category, but it's definitely set in space. So, second to last, time travel science fiction books. So you see, I have a really complicated relationship with time travel. It's not something that I usually like. It has to be done incredibly well for me to like it. And this book did it incredibly, incredibly great. I was going to include Light Brigade, but I'm just going for The Gone World by Tom Switterlich. This is such a convoluted and complicated story. It is just so great, man. I read this on January. Was it in January? I think so. Was it in February? I have such a mix with the 2 months. I highly recommend this one. It's really weird. It's really weird. Careful, again, time travel. So basically, I just really love the concept of the time travel here. Sorry, I just cannot seem to get into the point, but the concept of the time travel here, let me just explain that to you. So basically you have our timeline, and that timeline is the only one that exists. So this agency sends people to the future to figure out what could have happened. And when they get back, that line in the future stops existing, because now in the present, we're going to change some things to not get into the timeline. So probably many of the things that these agents have seen are not going to happen because we're going to still change things in the present. And that's amazing. There's a scene here where someone rescues our main character, and he's just like, I'm not going to let you go, because if you go, I will cease to exist. My life will cease to exist. And it's just a no. It's just so cool. So cool. I love it. And also how the time travelers age, because sometimes they spend years in the future and they come back and they are actually older than they are supposed to be in our present time. I just love that. But basically in this one, we're going to follow Shannon Moss. We're set in the 90s, by the way, because I was a little bit confused at first. But we're also set in the 90s, and she's basically investigating the disappearance of Marine's child, and also the murder of the rest of his family. And in the prologue, she actually is transported into the future, and she sees the world ending basically because of this thing called the Terminus, and it's just so fucking scary and doesn't make fucking sense at the beginning, but everything comes so perfectly cool together at the end. It's just great. Highly recommend The Gone World. And as you can probably realize, there's a book missing. That is always there. So for the last one, I have space opera. And I try to include books that I don't really talk about that often, but I couldn't resist getting this one here. The Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't include The Expanse, okay? Like, give me a break here. But this is the third book in the series, The Demon in White, my favorite right now. Has so many good things, this one. The first one has more fantasy elements here and there, because there's a lot of fights in a gladiator arena. But the second one and the third one are pure science fiction. They're so good. There's a sci-fi horror scene here that is fucking terrifying. And it's fucking amazing. And I'm so sad because the fourth book is being delayed till next year. Why? Basically, in the Sun Eater series, we're going to follow Gideon. And at the beginning, we discovered that he is guilty of blowing up an entire solar system, killing thousands of millions of people. Like, a lot of people. So he is basically telling us his life story and how he got to that point. And it's amazing. If you like that aspect in The Name of the Wind, then you're going to like this. But please stop comparing Empire of Silence with The Name of the Wind. They literally have nothing to do with each other. Please stop. Don't do that to me. But if you like their aspect, like someone telling their life story, you're going to really enjoy Empire of Silence. I really like it. There are swords, and there are explanations of why there's swords in this book. One of my favorite series of all time, my second favorite science fiction series of all time. Like, and it's only 3 books. Imagine how good it is. But yeah, if you're not fully convinced after the first book, I would recommend that you push through the second one. You know that I don't usually do this. I'm not like a huge, like, oh, you only need to read the first 7 books and then you're good. No. But I do believe that the first one is the weakest book if you're looking for science fiction elements. So I will highly recommend that you still check the second one. If you don't like the second one, then don't continue with the series, it's fine. But still, highly recommend that you check out the second one at least, because the first one is really, really different. So basically, that's going to be all. So many books, damn, so many books. I'm just going to go back and continue reading Revelation Space, honestly. But please, as always, if you have recommendations for books of these subgenres, leave them below. The other day I was asked if they could leave a recommendation. Of course, I always want book recommendations, so please just do it. Even if I don't ask, just do it. But yeah, that's basically going to be all for today. So, as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.